Have you ever wondered what's really going on behind the scenes at your office? The invisible framework that lets you do pretty much everything? Today, we're going to pull back that curtain. We're building a secure, multi-department office network completely from the ground up.
Right? We all just plug in and expect it to work. But there's a ton of planning and design that goes into that simple connection. So in this explainer, we're skipping the boring theory, we're going to get our hands dirty and walk through the practical steps of building a real-world network. Okay, so every great project starts with a challenge, a problem we need to solve. Ours is for a company with a brand new office that needs to get online, and they need it to be secure and efficient. Let's take a look at the brief. So let's meet our client for this project, XYZ Co. They're growing, which is great, but their new branch needs a network that's totally independent from their main headquarters. That's our #1 goal. And here's the checklist they gave us. We've got 3 departments: admin, HR, and reception. Now here's the tricky part. For security reasons, each department has to be on its own isolated network, but they still need to be able to talk to each other. On top of that, we have to make sure devices get their IP addresses automatically. We have to keep costs down by using just one router and one switch, and of course, everybody needs Wi-Fi. This list right here is going to be our guide for everything we do next.
With our requirements locked in, we can move on to the design phase. You wouldn't build a house without a blueprint, right? It's the exact same idea for a network. We need a solid plan before we touch a single piece of equipment.
And here it is, our blueprint. We're going with what's called a star topology. The beauty of this design is how simple and powerful it is. See how everything, every computer, every device connects back to that one central switch? This makes the whole network way easier to manage. Plus, if one person's computer has a connection problem, it doesn't take the whole office down.
So you might be asking, how do we create 3 separate, isolated networks if we only have one switch? Well, the magic is a technology called a VLAN, which stands for Virtual Local Area Network. Just think of it like this. A VLAN lets us take one physical box, the switch, and digitally slice it up into multiple, separate virtual switches. It's like turning a 1-story building into a 3-story building with secure floors, but without buying any new hardware. It's super efficient. We've got our physical layout planned, but now our devices need digital addresses so they can actually find each other on the network. This is where we create a logical system for all those addresses, and the process is called subnetting. Okay, so our internet service provider gave us one big block of IP addresses to use. Our job is to carefully carve that up into smaller, dedicated pools for each department. You can see right here in the table how we've created 3 different subnets. Admin gets its own range, HR gets a different one, and reception gets a third. And see how we've linked each of those address pools to a specific VLAN ID? This is the core of how our network will stay organized. And this is where that plan becomes reality. We're taking a look inside the router's configuration here. You can literally see those address pools we just designed being created: VLAN 10, VLAN 20, and VLAN 30. Each one is tied to the IP networks from our table. We're essentially teaching the network's brain exactly how to hand out addresses to each department.
All right, the design is done. The addresses are all planned out. It's time to stop planning and start building. Let's flip the switch and see this network come to life. And here we go, our first moment of success. On the left, that's the router's configuration for the admin department. And on the right, a PC in that department just automatically received an IP address. And it's right from the pool we created for it. It works. Now, let's check on HR. It's the same process. The router's DHCP service does its job, and the HR computer gets an address. But notice the address: 192.168.1.69. That's from the completely separate range we set aside for the HR VLAN. This proves our isolation is working perfectly. And finally, to complete the hat trick, the reception PC gets its address. That's 3 for 3. Each department is now up and running in its own secure digital space, and our automatic addressing system is working exactly as planned. So we've done a great job of isolating each department. But remember that other requirement? They still have to be able to talk to each other when needed. So it's time for the final and most important test to see if our network can bridge those virtual divides. This is really the moment of truth, isn't it? We've built these digital walls between departments using VLANs. The big question now is, can the router, which acts as the central traffic cop for the whole network, successfully route messages between them? Let's find out. And there it is, success. This log shows us sending out little test data packets called pings between computers in all 3 departments. And if you look at that last status column, every single one came back successful. This confirms it. Our router is handling all the traffic between VLANs perfectly. The network is officially live.
So we did it. We built a strong, efficient internal network for XYZ company. But in today's world, an internal network is really only half the battle. Now that we're secure from the inside, how do we protect ourselves from all the threats on the outside world? Well, that's where firewalls and external security come into play. But that's a story for another explainer.